you need to start hiring people that are better than you. And so all of a sudden, I dropped my guard when I learned that where, man, I want to have people that know a lot more than what I know. And it helped me, yeah, take my ego off, say, and start just asking more questions. And so that's been a big thing for me is keep asking questions and turning them back to them and then figure out the solution together.
Yeah. And that's a great tip that I wanted to really point out today as it connects to emotional intelligence, because a lot of leaders feel pressured by needing to have all the answers and
Mm,
needing to know it all. And that's not necessarily true. You need to know how to lead and how to guide. You don't need to have all the answers, quite simply. Okay. The next piece that I wanted to touch on around emotional intelligence is tied to emotional accountability. And this is clarity without emotional leakage. And what does that mean? It's accountability that is not emotionally driven through understanding consistency is the main factor around accountability.
mm,
Most leakage around emotional leadership occurs when you're not consistent. When you start to make exceptions, when you make deals with a certain group and not the other one, and or when you don't practice what you preach. And that is when you're going to really have a tough time with accountability and sticking through the process. What's going to happen is you're going to justify poor performance for those that you like, for
mm,
those that make you feel comfortable, for those that make you feel like you're a great leader. You're going to make excuses and you're going to allow for some of those things to progress. And so understanding that normalizing feedback for yourself and being pushed for yourself for growth, it is healthy. It's healthy as well to provide feedback for your employees and challenging them and holding them accountable. And so, in order to do that, you want to, again, we talked about this for previous weeks, but clarify expectations early and you want to address those behaviors early. You want to follow up and you want to stay consistent with those specific loops. Clarify, address, follow up. Consistency in those points will ensure that your emotional intelligence in feedback goes from confrontational into collaboration. And so you're going to work together versus
mm.
having conflict, because you're no longer just going to get upset, or people around your teams aren't going to get upset when they get called out on a feedback loop. They're in fact are going to embrace it, and you're, as a leader, have shown them that it's okay to be able to do that. And because you're now working with a set of guidelines that enables you to focus on consistency and high performance and not on ego, is going to again broader the impact through your organization. So I'll go back to you, Willie. I know we had lots of stuff, a lot of times where we had emotional intelligence challenges in the organizations with egos in particularly, right? In the teams.
Mm.
And you were always pretty grounded, but you had a lot of big egos around you. So how did you handle it as a leader?
I think the part, if I listen to them and then let them speak first and let them say what they think is best, but then I always would come back with some other questions. And then, so in that scenario, I would say you need to keep asking the next question. And then all of a sudden, they will come to see, oh, maybe that first decision isn't the right decision. And so I could kind of veer this decision to what I would like to actually see. So I think in order to do that is by keep asking the next question until you get to where you want to see the decision to be made.
And so you were doing that through check-ins, right? You were you
Yes,
you were staying tied close to the individuals and ensuring that the egos were aligned with your expectations and doing those check-in loops.
that's right. Yeah, the check-ins were a huge piece of that. Yeah.
Perfect, because that ties into what I'm talking about next, which is how do you now start to impact and actually put some momentum and some practical tools to emotional intelligence?